NHL insider Elliotte Friedman has just dropped a bombshell claim on the Kirill Kaprizov contract situation and something that is going on which will impact not just the Wild, but also the rest of the NHL, as multiple other teams have been implied in this one major issue. We're going to be breaking it down here in this video, though. Before we do jump into it, though, ladies and gentlemen, I do have one major request, and that is to hit the sub button if you haven't already. We're less than 30 subscribers away from hitting 2,000, and your support has been absolutely phenomenal. I know I say this in every video, but it is genuinely true, especially through all this stuff. Covering it's not the easiest, especially when you're seeing your top player being reported with other teams, but we got to cover it. We're bringing all the news here for you guys. So, like I said, appreciate all of you. If you haven't hit that sub button, be sure to do so. But we need to jump straight into this because Elliotte Friedman today dropped an absolutely insane claim regarding Kirill Kaprizov and something going on with his contract situation. And this does not involve the Wild necessarily, but is implying that other teams are tampering with Kirill Kaprizov. He said this on the Fan Hockey Show coming yesterday, coming out today more so really in the media side of things. Elliotte Friedman, regarding Kirill Kaprizov, I do believe there has been tampering / whispering going on. I'll never be able to prove it, but I believe it. Now, this is, first of all, an insane thing to claim, but this is something that me as a Wild fan, I'm sure a lot of you guys as Wild fans as well, have been thinking. And this is going to sound crazy because obviously when you're suspecting teams of tampering, and especially something like this, it is, a big claim. It's a bold claim, and we've seen it in sports before, but when you're getting a guy like Kirill Kaprizov, someone who is being reported in all of this stuff, declining an 8-year, $16 million deal, and having a bunch of fake reports come out, you're going to see stuff like this. And the fact that Elliotte Friedman like this comes out and saying this, really, at least to me, kind of confirms that my thoughts are not genuinely crazy. But, first of all, we have to kind of, go over the basics first. Tampering, of course, is, kind of regarding of teams contacting or kind of implying to Kirill Kaprizov, his agent, someone he knows talking to him, anything like that, saying, hey, how about you come play with us if you're not going to sign this contract? Which, of course, is not allowed in any of the major sports due to a lot of these contract rights. But going on claims like this, as I mentioned, genuinely insane to really put out there. But in situations like this, they become pretty evident. As Elliotte Friedman says, I'll never be able to prove it, but I believe it. And when you're seeing all of these kind of reports come out and everything that we've been able to see, something fishy is going on. And I think we can all really confirm that. And I think one thing that really sparked in my mind a couple of days ago, which made me led to believe all of this stuff that's happening, is when Michael Russo, put this out a few days ago. And from bookies.com, they had the odds of Kirill Kaprizov's next team there. There's 3 teams above Minnesota. How does that work? How can you possibly go ahead and put someone else above the Minnesota Wild when he still has a year with the Minnesota Wild, since he wants to go to the Minnesota Wild, or stay with the Minnesota Wild? He loves it here. There's been no contract, kind of details revealed as to what the plan is for him and for this Wild team. How can you put the Carolina Hurricanes, the Detroit Red Wings, and the Chicago Blackhawks above the Minnesota Wild in this instance, when he's still on the team for at least one more season? We know Chicago has been something in the past that they've said, that'd be a dream scenario. Whatever, that's not happening. The Detroit Red Wings, we know they're passed with Russian players. They love the Russian players. They have a lot of talented Russian players in their history. I think that's why they're there. But the Carolina Hurricanes, they're just a slimy organization anyways. This is something that they would absolutely do. So putting it all out there, seeing these here, there is a possibility that this is just by kind of going off the history, the past from these teams. But Elliotte Friedman confirmed to me at least, and put me in my mind in the right situation, that there is something fishy going on here. And I want to know what you guys think, because I think this is something that's, very bold, but, as a Wild fan and as an organization that we love and watch here, this team go and, have a player like Kirill Kaprizov, someone they haven't had in their history, and now things like this are going on, that is not normal. And, something has to be going on. So if I'm crazy, let me know in the comments below, but I do think that there's something that is off here, and I want to know if you guys feel the same way, and if you do, why do you think as well? Because I need more fuel to the fire. I need to see some more of that kind of stuff. But Elliotte Friedman is also someone that is a bit interesting when it comes to this stuff, because yes, he's a very good insider. He is one of the best, if not the best insider, but also has a few kind of wild claims here and there. And this is what he had to say on Sportsnet 590 The Fan. I've heard that he actually does like Minnesota. We'll have to see how this plays out to figure out where it's all going to go. when you're saying that, it's pretty obvious. Kirill Kaprizov said he loves Minnesota, says he wants to stay in Minnesota, so that's not really anything innovative there from Elliotte Friedman, but coming on with saying this and, really just kind of reading on top of what we already have, kind of goes in to add to that fact that, he's definitely an interesting guy when it comes to all of these opinions. And continuing on with it, another one here from Elliotte Friedman. Now, this came out yesterday, once again, saying Kirill Kaprizov, it's in a holding pattern right now. It becomes a question of, do you really believe Kaprizov wants to stay in Minnesota? If the answer is no, it doesn't behoove you to up your offer at all. Now, this comes from Oilers Now, once again, on yesterday, but when you see both of these things about yesterday, said this, also saying this here, going really back and forth on himself with the exact same thing over and over again. So when you're seeing stuff like that from Elliotte Friedman, he does say some tampering. He thinks of what's going on. I believe it, and I fully believe it, but Elliotte Friedman also has some crazy things. So, kind of take that with a grain of salt from Elliotte Friedman, but the big part there, I think, is this one right here. Obviously, I think that something is going on, and the fact that someone else with a bit of credibility, across the entire NHL is saying it, really makes a lot of sense to me. But of course, when we're going back on it, Kirill Kaprizov, 8 years by $14.1 million is his projections by AFP Analytics. So having that 8 by 16, having him decline that, and when a lot of that stuff is going down, you're going to have rumors swirling, and it makes just a lot of sense. But I want you to keep this number in mind, because there still is some part of me somewhere that thinks that this could be the number for Kirill Kaprizov, even though I am a bit more confident that it is going to be around that $16 million number with the Minnesota Wild. But we do have a few more updates on Kirill Kaprizov here today, and a few more things coming out, not necessarily from Elliotte Friedman, and more on a positive side of things. But at this point right now, Frank Cervalli via Bleacher Report said this: Kirill Kaprizov and the Wild will continue to work on a contract extension, but there is a 0% chance at this point he's on the trade block. Now, this is something that we've known. We've seen the trade block rumors, and once again, adding fuel to the fire for all of these rumors that they asked him for his team trade list. None of that is true. None of that has been coming true, and you're seeing all of these kind of reports to stack on top of each other to go against the Minnesota Wild just because of we're an organization that, albeit fairly new, still just don't really defend yourself. Not the biggest fan base, but we have probably the most loyal fans in the NHL. So, seeing all that stuff just coming out really adds to it. But once again, 0% chance he's on the trade block. And just confirming the fact that what we all know is not going to be happening, that a trade is going down, at least right now. And I don't want to kind of jump to conclusions here, but even if it does come down to it later on in, a year's time from now, things could be much different. And one more, once again, from Darren Drager, saying somebody's certainly aware of what's going on. Still felt strongly that Kaprizov is likely going to extend at 8 by 16 if he stays in Minnesota. Now, this comes from Ray and Dregs, once again, on yesterday, but came out today from NHL Rumor Report on Twitter, confirming, once again, that, there still is all of these stuff coming out that, hey, people know what's going on. People are not going to be some of these people that are spilling everything, leaking fake information to the media, to fans, and, to the NHL. Given this information and given all the positive stuff, I still think that the credibility of all of these is infinitely better than when it comes down to a lot of these reports of declining the deal, even though that, at least as far as we know right now, is confirmed. But a lot of this makes so much more sense. The fact that we're getting people familiar with the situation, not coming out and, revealing who they are, but putting that information out there to calm the minds of Wild fans and let the NHL know that, things are not going in a different direction from at least what it is right now. So I want to know what you guys think here in the comments below for this, because obviously a lot of crazy stuff is going down over the past couple of weeks and now most recently days. But we still have a lot of time. We still have a full season while Kirill Kaprizov's contract negotiations are going to be underway. Hopefully it's done sooner rather than later. But at this point right now, I think all we can really say is that he's waiting for Connor McDavid. That really seems like the one option to me. And getting whatever he gets, he'll probably get a little bit more. So let me know what you think about all the stuff that we have here in today's video. And also let me know what you think about the tampering side of things. Something's going on, but we really can't pick it out just yet. But let me know what you think it is in the comments below. But that's all I got here in this video. If you did enjoy it, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. I'm signing out, though. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.